Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are getting into some pretty crazy news about the NCAA and how they treat their female athletes and their male athletes completely differently. We're also talking about LaVar. He is back at it again with some crazy stuff, and I can't wait to hear what Jackie thinks about it, and you guys in the chat, so make sure you're chiming in. And we have Fan or Foe coming up at the end of the show today. Subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Happy Friday, you guys. We made it. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRayTheFanatic.
So, Jackie, now that we're going into the weekend, what do you have planned? More apartment hunting? What's up for you?
Yes, definitely more apartment hunting. And I have a friend who started a new business, and so I'm going to help him shoot a commercial for that this weekend. I'm super excited about that.
Ooh, that's nice of you to help out your friend. What is the business?
So it's basically if you want to get your hair done or your nails done or eyelashes, eyebrows, whatever, instead of actually having to go to a salon, they will actually come to you. So and it's all certified, and you can do like a whole day. Like as soon as it's up and running, I'm gonna do like a girls' day and just have somebody come to the house and have like wine and all this good stuff, and me and my girls just gonna be here getting our hairs and nails done, and it's just gonna be like an in-home spa day. I really need a massage, is what I really need, but I'm not going to have no ladies because I want them telling on me a year later that I did something that I didn't do. So I'm just give me the male masseuses. Shade. Yes, I threw some shade.
Yeah, speaking of shade and that kind of situation, you're going to be talking a little bit more about the Deshaun Watson scenario and what we're not going to do today, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
All right, you guys, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming up towards the end of the show today. Speaking of getting hair done, that's what I'm doing this weekend. My hair, I'm going to have another moment. Remember when we were doing the live show? Didn't realize I was on camera and I'm examining my split ends. That's going to happen today probably because these ends are brittle and dry. They need to come off, so can't wait to get that. Gonna have my healthy hair back. But okay, in the meantime, let's break down this news, you guys. Let's talk about the NCAA. So women's NCAA athletes are exposing the differences in the way they are treated versus their male counterparts. Leo, can you throw up that first video for us?
I got something to show y'all. So for the NCAA March Madness, the biggest tournament in college basketball for women, this is our weight room. Let me show y'all the men's weight room. Now, when pictures of our weight room got released versus the men's, the NCAA came out with a statement saying that it wasn't money, it was space that was a problem. Let me show y'all something else. Here's our practice court, right? And then here's that weight room. And then here's all this extra space. If you aren't upset about this problem, then you're a part of it.
Wow. Okay. So it is very difficult to deny the differences in the way, the men are hooked up with an entire floor dedicated to their weights and their training, facilities, while the women get a rack of weights and maybe some yoga mats. To me, that's pretty wild, but it gets even crazier. So there were a bunch of people tweeting about this. Leo, can you throw up our second tweet? Sabrina said, women's NCAA bubble weight room versus men's weight room. I thought this was a joke. WTF is this? To all the women playing in the March Madness tournament, keep grinding. So I'm glad that she's speaking out and drawing some attention to it. But there were other athletes in the bubble who were sharing the food that they got. So this here is some like weird mystery meat with veggies and mashed potatoes on the side. It's a pre-packaged meal. They also got a loaf of bread and a packaged brownie. Now let's take a look at what the guys get. A whole buffet filled with some sort of meat right there down at the bottom, mac and cheese. There's like a shrimp dish. They have this all-you-can-eat buffet, a buffet line with all these different options available to them, while the women get a weird piece of soggy mystery meat, veggies, and mashed potatoes, and nothing else. So that's shocking to me as well. And then also we have to talk about the swag bag. Now, upon first look, this swag bag, I was like, all right, it's chill. I'm not usually one to even like those swag bags because they're filled with a bunch of random stuff that you don't actually need. So I was like, okay, you know, that's fine. They get some water bottles, a towel, some toiletry type products, a shirt. But then I saw the men's swag bag. I mean, come on, this is like, they have like triple the amount of stuff available to them. So many more toiletry products down there at the bottom. Everything looks better. It's cleaner. It's sharper. It's, you know, it just looks more cohesive. So they clearly spent a lot more time putting together what the guys were going to get in their swag bag versus the women. So Jackie, what is your reaction to this?
Besides the initial shock, I mean, I would have to see it again, but I feel like I have that weight set. When the pandemic hit, remember I told you I was like, I had just started working out and I'm like, I got to stick to it. So I ordered that weight set from Amazon and it starts at 2.5 pounds. It's no weight. It's like a waste of, I mean, the whole set that came to me, it wasn't like super light, but I lifted it up and brought it in my house myself. The bottom weight is, I think, 15 pounds. It's not heavy at all. And it's just something you do at home. It's not something that you do when you're actually trying to train for an athletic competition. It's subpar for sure. That's number one. Number two, that swag bag is just lazy because I have been in charge of creating swag bags for several functions, organizations. And that is a matter of picking up the phone and saying, hey, do you want to have your stuff in our bag? You know, you're not paying for 90% of that. 90% of that stuff you're not paying for. 90% of that stuff comes from people who are sponsoring the event anyway and just want to throw some stuff in your bag. So that's just lazy. That has nothing to do with money. And then that food, like I could probably let the weights go, you know, because okay, as long as you feeding this right, I could probably be okay with it. You could go to Ralph's and get a whole bunch of Marie Callender's. Marie Callender microwave food. They have pastas, they have vegan food, they have everything that looks like real food. I don't know what the hell this is. This looks like some sort of cartoon where you just throw something together. This is horrible. And for them to issue a statement, y'all know I'm big on truth. For them to issue a statement and say, oh, it's about money and space. Like, you know, there's girls in there that got their phones, right? So as soon as you come out with that lie, they're going to show the lie. Why would you even tell that lie? That doesn't even make sense to me. But this is something we've seen time and time again. And for me, it's a very easy fix. For the food example, obviously that food was catered. You can tell by the kind of packaging it came in, that food was catered. So cater more. You know, and the more you buy with catered food, the lower your prices. You'll get a better deal the more food you buy. So cater from the exact same company and make sure the women's food is catered as well. Those weights in there, I get it because it looks like maybe wherever they are, those weights might have already, I don't know, I'd have to really look into the weight situation because I feel like these look like this was a plan. This plan was in place. You know, that plan for those weights in the men's room was in place. And again, if this is a situation where you rented or leased that equipment, you're going to get a better deal the more you rent or lease. So why not stick with the same company, get a better deal? And even at bare minimum, if you don't want to do a full space like this, you could get them at least, because it looks like I'm seeing like almost six to eight squat racks in there. Get them at least 2 squat racks. Get them at least 2 benches. Get them the full weights. You know what I mean? You could have scaled it back, but still giving them the same amount of equipment that the men have. And then now if you say, oh, it was about money, we might believe you because at least you got us the same equipment. You really got us out here with these junior high weights, though. This doesn't make an ounce of sense. But this is the NCAA, and I should probably take that back because we saw the same thing in the NBA bubble as far as what the women were getting there. So this is clearly just we think that the men deserve better than the women, and it is so disrespectful. And I just can't imagine, like, if I was a parent and I'm seeing this, like, could you imagine if you have a child that is playing in the NCAA tournament and you have a girl and a son, you have a daughter and a son, and your son is getting treated like a king and your daughter's being treated like a scrub? Like, how do you as a parent reconcile that? This is too much for me. I don't know. I don't know about this. This is too much. The NCAA needs to do better. We as a society need to do better.
Yeah, I agree with you 1000%. And it's weird to envision them having meetings about setting up these bubbles for the men and women and thinking like, okay, so yeah, we're going to get like the high-end catering for the guys. The girls, they'll be fine with the whatever that chunk of meat is. Like, it's just weird that they would even be able to justify that in the planning process for all of this. Big Dog, thank you so much for the $5 donation. That was really nice of you. One thing I do want to mention, so this is even catching the attention of NBA players, and we know that a lot of NBA players really vouch for, WNBA players. They vouch for the college athletes. So they're really trying to vocalize their support for these people. And Steph Curry he retweeted that video that Sedona Prince put up that I showed you guys at the top of the show. And he said, wow, come on now, at March Madness, at NCAA, y'all trippin'. So do you think that having somebody like Steph speak out and call out the NCAA might help at least get the ball rolling for change in the future for next year's March Madness tournament? Or do you think that the NCAA is just a lost cause at this point?
I've been saying the NCAA is a lost cause for a lot of reasons, not just this. And I see somebody in the chat, I don't even know what your full name is, but he says this is a stupid complaint from these women. And I think that's why Steph's comment is so important, because you do have mindsets like this that can't even see why this is blatantly horrible. This is discrimination. This is what discrimination looks like. One set of people is getting one thing, another set of people is getting another. And this is terrible. And you need people like Steph speaking out about this, because you need to change these kinds of mindsets who, when people say stuff like this, like, oh, the women are complaining for nothing, it's because in their mind, they feel like the women don't deserve better. They feel like women don't deserve equal. And you have to have somebody like Steph, somebody that they might actually respect, point out to them why this is wrong. And again, this is lazy, because to me, I always feel like there's a way to make things look good, even if they're not good. There are a such thing called boosters. Every college has what's called boosters, alumni, people who donate to the school. If you really just didn't have the money, and I don't believe in my heart of hearts it's about money for the NCAA, because on this show we have talked several times about the money these schools get just from being in this position to be in this NCAA championship. So I don't think it's about money. But you could have made a call to the boosters, call some of the parents and be like, hey, so we're having this issue with the food, for the women. We can't get this, lie. I mean, y'all seem to be good at lying anyway, so just lie and be like, we can't get the same caterer that's doing the guys to come and give these women good food, and we feel like we're going to give them bad food. Can you help? I'm sure within your boosters, you might either have someone who has a catering company, or have someone who knows somebody, or they'll want to get together and just cook for these women. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's enough resources that you can reach out and you can provide for these women, even if you don't want to dip into your own funds. And I know this because I have done this again for organizations, and I've done this just me. And this isn't my job. This isn't my job to make sure that everybody has what they need. But you make a phone call and say, hey, I'm in this situation. Do you think you can help? And when it comes to kids, people are going to help very, very quickly. So this is an easy fix. This is just being lazy to me on the behalf of the NCAA. But I'm glad people like Steph speak out, because I think they have to. Because if you don't, as a man, and you see this and you can just go, oh well, and just move on, then that's telling as well. So I think you do need people like Steph. And we saw everybody in the NBA spoke out for the WNBA during the bubble. It seemed like every guy, Kyrie had even said, let's get together and up their salaries. Just let's pay for some stuff. So it's good faith to let that trickle down to these young ladies in the NCAA. So I think this is a very right call for him to make. And anyone else that speaks up about it from the NBA.
Yeah, I'm really, really glad that Steph retweeted this video, because obviously his platform is huge. So this is going to reach so many people now, because he was willing to put it on his profile and publicly criticize March Madness and the NCAA for this treatment. Now, I want to address one thing, because in the past we've discussed how WNBA players earn less than NBA players, and that's something that I think Jackie, you and I can both reconcile, because the numbers and the money that's coming from WNBA is significantly less than the NBA. That's just the time that we live in. So we don't expect these WNBA players to walk away with a, you know, LeBron-sized contract, because that's just not, it wouldn't make sense. But I think when you're dealing with student athletes who aren't earning any money anyway, the least that you can do is treat everybody fairly, or at least give them some sort of similar treatment, you know? Like, this to me is just, the difference is so great that it is really, really hard to justify it. Even like what you were saying, Jackie, giving them 2 squat racks, and like maybe they get smaller amounts, maybe they get less, maybe they get the cheaper catering option. I still would hate that, because I'm a foodie and I want some good food if I'm going to be out there playing my heart out. I don't want some gross mystery chunk of meat. Not that I would eat that anyway. I wouldn't eat the meat. I'd be living off steamed veggies and potatoes. But like, you know, you can justify maybe a slight difference in the treatment, but this is so great. This is like when we saw the WNBA players in their bubble and there were cockroaches on the floor, and meanwhile we have you know, our NBA athletes just living it up in Orlando, going to, you know, sliding down water slides and doing all that. So it's just kind of hard to justify this big of a difference. But also, Maurice gave us $5. Thank you so much for that. I don't think I'm going to read what you said. I can't tell if it's like annoying or not, so I'm just going to ignore it. But yeah, Jackie, anything else that you want to add before we move on into the next Need to Know News update?
Just that I am very glad that these women feel empowered to show the difference, because these differences have existed since the dawn of time, and we just have kind of swept them under the rug and have accepted that this is the way things are and this is the way that things will be, and things will never change if you just accept them as is. So I'm very excited that these young ladies felt empowered to show this trash accommodations, because that food is terrible. So that food bothered me more than anything else. I will say that, yes, I was troubled by the weights and things of that nature, but that food, these are athletes we're talking about, you know? So yeah, that bothered me more than anything. So I'm very excited that they feel empowered to share this.
Me too. And yeah, that food was the worst one for me too. Like, the swag bag I could live with, but I also just cannot stand when I walk away from an event with a swag bag, because it's just all this stuff that you never end up using anyway. But just the attention to detail on the men's versus the women's, it was just like, wow, you really you didn't care, huh? Like, that's how it felt looking at that. Okay, let's jump into this next update. LaVar Ball, he is back at it again with another comment, just as LaVar does. So it has been a little bit quiet on the LaVar Ball front recently, but he is making headlines for his take on Lonzo's future. So LaVar said, quote, about the Pelicans, "I don't know what they're going to do, but I hope he gets traded. I don't like watching him play like he plays. He can't stand New Orleans." Come on, man. Now, these comments do contradict what we've heard Lonzo say himself. He said that, you know, they're friends off the court and they, you know, he likes playing with them. But he has also hinted that maybe he'd be ready for a move. So, I mean, I think this is Lonzo's personal decision and choice, and LaVar should not be coming out here with these grand statements about not liking the way Lonzo plays with the Pelicans. He can't stand New Orleans. It's just a little bit extreme. And also what makes LaVar's comments even more funny is the fact that Lonzo is having a pretty good year. He's averaging 14.2 points per game, and as well as 5.5 assists and 4.2 rebounds. So he's, you know, it's not like he's fully struggling. Lonzo, I think, hasn't been able to make that super impressive impact on the not the WNBA, the NBA. But I'm thinking about women's basketball now, so it's just coming straight to mind.
Thinking about how Lonzo looked his very first season, maybe. I don't know. That's maybe
that was it, Jackie. But you know, so it is kind of funny to hear this from LaVar, but you know how LaVar is. He's always got something to say. He was talking about LaMelo too. He said that Michael Jordan shouldn't be giving LaMelo advice because he's like expired milk is the comparison that he used. I don't know what LaVar is thinking when he says that kind of stuff. So do you think it's wrong for LaVar to be speaking on behalf of his son in this way and saying such negative things about the organization that his son plays for?
I just wish that LaVar would realize at some point, I'm never mad per se at what LaVar says. It's always the way that he says it. I mean, if he came out and said, hey, you know what, I've had conversations with my son and I'm going to let him say what he wants to say. But me personally, as his dad, I would love to see him go somewhere else. I don't like what I see going on in New Orleans. I don't like the chemistry or lack thereof that I see, which would not be true. I think this is the first time I've actually even paid Lonzo some compliments, and it's because of the chemistry between him and Zion. So I wouldn't agree with that, but if that's what he said, it's I don't like this. If he kind of internalized it and said and made it about him and what he wants, and then ended that sentence again with, but it's Lonzo's career. He's going to do what's best for him. He's a very intelligent young man. He knows what he wants, and I'm sure he's going to go out there and get what he wants. But as his dad, I would want him to do this. Like if he said that, I would never have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with what he said per se. It's just how he said it. And I wish he would realize that there's some people in the world that just don't want to deal with his mouth. And as a parent, you don't want to be a detriment to your kids. You always want to be an asset. So again, I think if he would just preface it of saying, oh, Lonzo hates it there. Because I've never heard Lonzo say that. Like you said, I've never heard Lonzo say that he hates that. I'm not going to say, obviously, what Lonzo says to the press is going to be entirely different than what he says to his family. So it's a very much a possibility that he has said this to LaVar. But if he said this to LaVar, then LaVar now has a responsibility not to share that, because once again, that is a family conversation. And your job as a parent is to present the best opportunity for your kids. I don't have a problem with what he said, just how he said it, how he was representing for Lonzo. That's what I have a problem with.
And that's, I think, the common theme with LaVar. He speaks and says these statements like as fact, and he's speaking for his sons. And I think that can actually be detrimental for Lonzo and his relationship with the Pelicans, to have his dad on the side speaking to ESPN and saying these kinds of things. I mean, I feel like it's just not a good look. Do you think that LaVar's interviews with ESPN and when he does say these kinds of things, that it is kind of negatively impacting his relationship with the Lonzo's relationship with the Pelicans?
I would hope at this point in the existence of the ball boys that teams have learned how to tune out LaVar, because you just have to, because you have to understand that even if Lonzo and LaVar were estranged and not speaking, LaVar is still going to speak. That's just how this goes. So I think these teams kind of just realize at this point they just have to tune him out. And as long as Lonzo comes and he performs on the floor. Now, at first, because he has toned it back, he's not as bad as when Lonzo first came in the league. So now he's tolerable. Now we hear from him once in a while instead of every damn day. So he's tolerable now. So I don't think teams are paying him any attention. In all honesty, I think when we see LaVar, it's because that specific news outlet is having a slow news day. And the best way to get a good soundbite is to call LaVar. And he's always down to talk. So I think it's all about, just having a slow day and giving him a platform. But I think teams have definitely learned how to tune him out.
You know what I wonder, though, is how these kinds of statements actually end up affecting Lonzo's relationship with LaVar, because I know if my dad was speaking to the media about my job here at the Fumble or whatever and saying things like, she hates it there, I would be furious. I wouldn't feel like I could trust my dad. I wouldn't feel like he's somebody I could confide in, because it ultimately just seems like potentially private and personal information and conversations become public knowledge, because LaVar just likes to run his mouth when there's a microphone in front of it. So I don't know. To me, it's just, I appreciate and respect LaVar and admire him for being so committed to his son's successes. But I feel like he also, along the way, lights these little fires that's makes it very difficult for them to be taken seriously, and for them to, just be able to let their own talents and skills shine and be the reason that they're, people are paying attention to them. So I don't know, LaVar.
I agree with that, and I disagree with that. And I'm about to say something that I know is going to make some of y'all in the chat upset, so get your typing fingers ready. But the only reason that we even considered Lonzo the most highly anticipated draft pick of all time, which was a lie from LaVar. LaVar created that hype. Lonzo 100% needed to stay another year in college because he wasn't ready for the NBA. I don't care what anybody says. That boy was not ready for the NBA, and we saw it immediately. there were things that I saw in him when he was in college that I was like, that ain't it, my guy. You're not even there yet on your squad. It's just you good on that squad. I'm not gonna say you're not good on that squad, but you're not even in my opinion, he was not okay. Let's let this be the kid from college that we're talking about all the time. LaVar is the best hype man on the planet. LaVar was the reason why we talked about Lonzo the way we did. LaVar is the reason why Lonzo ended up with the Lakers. This was all LaVar. It wasn't because if you had like one of those little sensor things over Lonzo's face and you went back and you watched his days in college, you're not checking for him like that. You just not. And LaVar hyped that man up so much. So you got to give that man credit, and he's not going to let you forget his credit, even if you don't want to give it to him. He's not going to let you forget that. So as much as I agree with you, he's the reason why we're in this situation where Lonzo was relevant at the time that he was. Because if it hadn't been for LaVar, he would have had to finish college or at least play another year or two before anybody was checking for him. This is all LaVar is doing. So I'm going to give that man his credit.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. He does deserve credit. He's, I feel like, also a big reason we paid as much attention to LaMelo as a high schooler, because he was constantly talking about his kids and filling us in on how he trained them to all be basketball players and how he's been running drills with them since they were 3 and whatever it is. So, yes, I think that LaVar has done a good job of thrusting all 3 of those boys into the spotlight. It's just that now that they're there, I think that LaVar likes to just stir the pot a little bit and create these kind of awkward situations for his kids, like this, saying he hates it, he can't stand New Orleans. Like, that is where your son is playing right now. Just keep quiet. Come on. Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up Need to Know News. So, Jackie, can you take us into the post-up?
Yes, I'm excited for this first one because I definitely want you guys in the chat to let me know what you see and how you feel about this next one, because I'm okay with every single thing that you are about to see in this next clip. I am okay with Gabe's teammate kind of coming for him. I'm okay with the passion that Gabe showed, and I'm okay with Coach Izzo kind of checking him and grabbing him. But a lot of people think this was an unnecessary grab. Take a look and let me know what you think.
And Gabe Brown getting an earful, and then Tom Izzo and Gabe Brown sharing first half thoughts. Wow. And it didn't end there. Let's go all the way up to it's called coaching, and what's it called on the players' end as we bring you to AT&T at the half.
Now, I didn't grab any of the screenshots, but I did see a lot of people say, oh, that coach shouldn't have put his hands on him, things of that nature. First of all, he didn't put his hands on him. He tried to. He tried to grab him and be like, you know what? You ain't going to just disrespect me. I played ball, y'all, and I can't tell you how many I was an angry ball player, but that's a whole nother story for a different day. And I got grabbed a couple of times like this. And if I hadn't, I probably would have done something stupid. So I'm actually okay with this. I don't have a problem with this at all. Like they said, this is called coaching. I'm okay with it. Devin, I'm going to go to you. Do you think that this was just coaching, or do you think that the second you grab a kid, you've gone too far?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I feel like it wasn't like, remember when we talked recently about that Pee Wee football coach? I mean, that was just an entirely different story. So this is definitely, I could go either way on this one. I think that if I were watching it and it were my kid, I probably would not be that thrilled to see that kind of thing happen. But like I've mentioned on this show 1,000 times, I'm also very soft. Like, I'll admit that 1,000%. So I don't have Jackie's tough edge. I wish I did, but I think I would probably be upset about that. So I don't know. I think that you can coach, you can communicate without grabbing people.
So JD in the chat agrees with you. He says Coach Izzo didn't need to grab him. He tried to embarrass him. That's why the player ran and Tom chased after him. Let me tell you something. If I was that coach, what we not going to do is when I'm trying to talk to you, you point your finger in my face and you raise your voice, because I'm going to snatch you up. So I'm okay with all of this. This went the way it was supposed to go for me.
I will say, if I also saw my son talking to the coach in the way that it looked like that player was, I would be like, that you don't talk to people like that. So I think it goes either way.
All right. And at that point, you've entrusted this coach to kind of lead your kids. So it is what it is for me. Now, he didn't hit the man. So I am. Oh, okay, John Gonzalez. I see you. Says Jackie has that Scorpio trait. Cause I'm a Scorpio, sir. Okay, I see you. All right, let's move on to this next one. Because it looks like, when the besties go out, it's LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwayne Wade. That is the bestie train. I am wondering if we see the next boating outing for the besties, if we're going to see Steph Curry joining the group, you guys, because Steph posted a picture of LeBron and he said his caption was perfect because he said the next time he does a three-pointer, here it is, he says, rocking this whole vibe, next three-point shootout. And then Lavelle says, game blouses. I hope you guys know that from the Dave Chappelle when he talked about Prince and how Prince can actually ball. And then LeBron laughed at that and said, game blouses. And okay, so now are we, because that is definitely a whole vibe from LeBron that Steph is saying he wants to have during the next three-point shootout. So now I have to wonder, are we buddies now? What's happening, Devin?
Yeah, I think they are buddy. And I love to see it. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I am too, because for so long people said that this was a beef. I knew it wasn't a beef because every time they were on the court together, they would acknowledge each other and it was cool. So I'm down. I'm down for the next outing. Y'all know LeBron had to save Carmelo's life when the Tide took him out. So maybe now he can save Steph's life and then we can take this friendship further. But let's go into this next one because while LaMelo might not have been too excited to see LeBron, he definitely wasn't excited to help lead his team to a win either because they were never a problem last night. I think one time they beat us and that was in the third quarter and it was just because we kind of took the foot off the throttle, but we handled that in all epic fashion. The only thing I didn't like was, once again, LeBron James is out there playing 36 minutes, but I digress. That's my own problem. That's my own energy, and it is what it is. But I still love the chemistry between the Lakers. Now, they took time to smoke a imaginary Charlotte cannabis, if you will, during this timeout. So take a look. I like how Morris was like, I want my hit. Where's my hit? So this is one of the things that I really wanted to see and I needed to see. And I'll tell you why. One of the things that I had said on another podcast was I really didn't want AD to come back until late April. And I only wanted him to come back then so we can make sure that we had that chemistry. But seeing him to be able to sit on the sideline, get up, show guys plays, roll in an imaginary spliff and do their thing. I love my squad is what I'm trying to say. I love everything about it. Let's circle back, though, because, we got to give LaVar a little bit more attention. That man is not going to be satisfied if we just give him a sprinkle of attention. So we're going to give him a little bit more attention because we already talked about the hot take that he said. And I'm going to show you both of those. I know we talked about one, but I'm going to show you both because he also said something else. Let me show you this first one. And I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad at this thought process. You guys are seeing LaMelo and going, oh my God, he's killing it, man. Melo can do so much more if he played with his brothers. It's a wrap. You guys would have to change the game of basketball if all three of them get on the same team. And this is the same interview where he said that quote that Devin mentioned earlier. And then they retweeted that as well, because when I listened to it, I'm like, he didn't actually say a word right. And they worded it. And the only reason I want to put it is because of the shade. They wrote the tweet word for word the way he said it. Because he says, I don't know what they're going to do, but I hope he get traded. I don't like watching him play. Lie. And that's how he said it in the interview. And that's why I was like, I love that. He meant like he plays. So I love that they took a little bit of time to shade him just a touch and write it exactly how he said it. So I think that's hilarious. But I'm not mad at LaVar for this because I think he's right. I think that because that's how they grew up. They grew up playing together. And I think the three of them on the same team, now we're having a different conversation about the Ball boys. And I don't know if it'll happen. It might, but I wouldn't be mad if it did. And I'm not mad at LaVar having this dream. I am upset, like Devin said, with him saying, he hates it in New Orleans. New Orleans is a dope town. It's hard to hate living in New Orleans, but okay, LaVar. So let's move on to this next one. Because apparently somebody tried to Photoshop So when y'all say that, oh, you know, people don't lie like that. Somebody's tried to Photoshop Karl-Anthony Towns DMing random girls and trying to shoot his shot at random girls. So he was like, nah, what we not going to do is put my name on blast when I got this whole woman that I be checking for all the time who has been there for me through thick and thin. So he's like, no, I got the baddest girl in the game, and you think I'm going to waste my energy with anyone else? Get the F out of here. Same haters we got now, we gonna have the same ones when I have put a ring on her finger. I am so excited about that because yes, that's what you do. You stand up for who you love and who you believe in. And then this young lady came back and was like, you shouldn't even be paying attention to these haters. She says, you need to put a ring on yours, meaning it's your own championship ring first. You need to put a ring on yours and stop paying attention to people who are more worried about what your woman looks and acts like than the success you have on the court. I'm coming from a hooper place. These casuals and mainstreamers should mean nothing to you. Nothing. I agree with that. Keep these people out your business. It has nothing to do with you. But then somebody else chimed in and was like, she's getting a ring before he does if he stays in Minnesota. That's probably accurate. That's actually probably a true statement. But what do you think about him coming for these fake DM people, Devin?
You know, the drama. I love hearing about the drama between athletes, but come on, you guys. Can't we give Karl-Anthony Towns a break? The guy has been through so much in the last year. Why do we have to drag his name into random made-up drama that didn't even happen and didn't even exist? To me, it's just that this is just a level of petty that I don't like. You know, he lost, wasn't it like 6 or 7 of his family members to COVID and car accidents and all of that? Like, come on, this guy deserves a little bit of a break. So I don't like this at all. And I think that it's great that he clapped back at all the haters and really just laid it out there and said that he plans on marrying Jordan Woods. I think that their relationship is really nice, and I hope that he's happy. That's all I want for him.
They seem very happy, and that's all I want for him too, because I've experienced loss in my life, of course, but that kind of loss where you lose that many family members in a very short amount of time, that's crazy. And I'm going to salute any woman that stands by him and lifts him up in that time, because we only got one life to live, y'all. Some of this is just too petty. But let's go to this next one, because if you are a UFC fan, you guys know that you knew it was coming. Because he told us it was coming, but it is still bittersweet to make it official. But you know, Khabib announced that he was going to retire back in October when he fought Justin Gaethje, and he said it in the ring. He said, you know, with what happened to my dad, I'm not gonna fight anymore. If you guys don't remember, his father had been hospitalized in Moscow back in May because he was diagnosed with coronavirus, and then he had to undergo a heart surgery from a pre-existing condition that COVID ended up making it worse. And then eventually he passed away. So Dana White posted this on his page today, and he says 29-0. I just have to let that sit for a minute. 29-0. This man is a true legend. It's really sad to see him go for me, but I totally get it. He said he's 100% officially retired. He was incredible to watch you work. Thank you for everything, and enjoy whatever comes next for you. And I don't know what's coming next for him, but I definitely, if you saw his last fight, and you saw his post-fight speech and him saying, you know, I'm not going to do this, because his dad was so instrumental in being there with him. It was weird to see him do that fight without his dad present. So we knew this was coming. Doesn't make it sting any less, but I'm very, very excited for him and him hopefully spending more time with his family. And I would love to see him maybe even on, you know, in the ring on the side, kind of giving us a play-by-play. I think he'd be amazing at that. But let's move on to this next one, because I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you ever decide to shoot a video to show us how fast you are, make sure it's on the side. And the reason why I say that is because when something is coming at you, it doesn't look like it's coming as fast as it's coming. If I go outside right now and I run a 40-yard dash, I could probably do it in 6 seconds. Probably, with maybe a half hour stretching. I could probably do it in 6 seconds. So when somebody tells you they can run a 40 in 4 point whatever seconds, that is insane. Justin Fields from the Ohio State is stupid fast, but they shot it from the wrong angle. But I'm gonna let you take a look.
What we finna do? Get out of there. Talk to the folks. Let them know what you finna do.
439, 438. That's my goal, but we're not running slower than the 442, 443. 4 for 3. If it's slowest, I'll run it then. I'll run it slower than that.
What you say? You ain't just no regular quarterback.
Most of the people out there think I'm a mid 4.5 guy. Maybe they give me credit for the low 4.5s, but they're gonna see today. They're gonna see that real speed today.
What you got? 4-4-1. Say it one more time. 4-4-1. What you got, Jay?
4-4-1.
That's crazy. That means that man ran 40 yards in 4.1 seconds. I saw somebody in chat say he's not that fast. Okay, he says Tyreek Hill is faster. Okay, but Tyreek is supposed to be faster. That's his job, to be faster. This is a guy that went out there and his goal was to run a 4.38, which is typically what we see sometimes in the combine. We'll see like a 4.4 or something like that. But this kid went out there and did a 4.1. Y'all say what y'all want to say. That's fast. But again, next time you shoot this, Justin, do it from the side, because it didn't look that fast coming at us. I'm just trying to help you. I've been doing a couple of visuals here and there. So yeah, just make sure you do it from the side going forward. Now, let me move on to this next one, because this next one hurt my entire feelings, because I've been telling y'all I've been so proud of myself. I've been sticking to my workout. When I first started my workout, I could do about 10 sit-ups without having to take a break and be like, oh, Jesus, I feel like I'm dying. Now I can do 30 whole sit-ups before I have to feel like I need to pray to finish out I do 3 sets of 50. So I feel good about myself. At least I did, until this man posted this on his Instagram. And now I'm like, okay, you're just going to kill my whole confidence. Take a look.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's not done. I don't like this person. I don't know who this person is. I don't like this person. This was unnecessary, especially the tag that says abdominal and core training. You're not training, sir. You're at like alien level abs. This is stupid. You just shot my little ego to hell, and I don't like it. Devin, are you gonna be adding this to your workout?
Oh, definitely. I'll try it today. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll probably be coming onto the show on Monday morning with a brace around my neck because I've just cracked my whole spine or something, because that looks literally impossible. It looks like magic. It doesn't look like real life.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at that probably 100 times because I was like, no, there's a line in there. But then on his page, if you scroll through, he does all of I'm not checking him out. I see Gary Turbo. I can't, even if he was handsome, I wouldn't be able to see it because I'm like, why are you posting this? Why? This is on my thread because I follow so many workouts on Instagram. So Instagram is like, hey, look at this. This can help. No, Instagram, this did not help. This hurt. This hurt. No, there's not going to come a time in my life where I can actually do this. Y'all need to change the damn algorithms on Instagram because this made me mad. But shouts out to this man. But let's get into this last one because I do want to have time for what we're not going to do. This one's going to be quick, you guys, because a third lawsuit has come. Oh, no, I got one more. No. Yeah, this is it. So another lawsuit has come against Deshaun Watson. And I really need the video evidence, because if he has done these things, I definitely think he needs to be held accountable. But in my head, I cannot see this happening. So this new allegation says, it's another massage therapist, and it says that I'm going to get to this tweet in a second because she's got an amazing point. But this new allegation says that this massage therapist, she was giving him a massage, and then he asked her, same kind of thing we heard in the other ones, that he asked her to massage his groin area, and then she did. I don't think she's really contesting that. But then she says he suggested to her that she give him oral sex. And she said by the suggestion, she felt intimidated by him saying that she really should give him this oral sex. And so she felt like she had to, I don't mean to giggle, but the fact that we're not talking about any kind of physical threats, no mention of a gun, but by him suggesting that she really needed to do oral sex on him, she felt threatened enough to do so, and then ended up with the most vulnerable part of a man with all of her teeth intact. And she didn't retaliate at that moment. She didn't say anything days or weeks or even months later. Now here we are almost a year later. And now she's bringing this up. And she's bringing this up at the prompting of a man who I've already given you 2 days worth of the shade and the unethical behavior of this man. And this is the person that is bringing these women out of the woodwork, and they're all massage therapists, and they're all saying like, oh, his words made me feel blah, 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 blah. I have a hard time when somebody said they were threatened by what somebody said, especially in your own home, because one of these happened in her home. The other one is in a hotel room. I'm not exactly clear as to where this third one is at. So if you go to ESPN or if you go to sportingnews.com or any of these other major sites that are covering this, they are making this, they've pretty much tried and convicted Deshaun Watson of all these allegations. And their theory is where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's no way you can have more than 2 women. And they said it's going to get up to 6 women. There's no way that you can have 6 women saying this and it not possibly be true. It's definitely possible. And I have case studies to show you this. It's definitely possible, because it's called when people get together for a specific cause. And we know that Tony Busby has an alliance with the McNair family. So again, if I see evidence that it says it's not true, of course I want him to pay for what he did. But right now I don't see it. And I think when you're talking about sports journalists, and you guys need to understand that, because I think sometimes you guys don't. There's a difference between sports commentating, sports hosting, and sports journalism. Sports journalism is, this is what happened in the game. This is what happened after the game. This athlete is involved in this. It is your job to kind of be a news reporter, but with sports. And with journalism, you're supposed to be fair and unbiased. And by that means you're supposed to present both sides of the story. So if you're going to say, oh, Deshaun Watson did this, that's fine. Absolutely no problem with you saying these are the allegations that have been brought against Deshaun Watson. But and it's a hop, skip, and a jump, you guys. You just have to go over to his Instagram and then Google the man. And it's really easy to find. It's not even investigative journalism. It's just kind of look-seeing journalism. But you should really present the side of the people who are bringing the allegations against him and just make it fair and unbiased. ESPN and none of these other sports organizations are doing that. And I'm troubled by ESPN specifically because there's so many Black journalists that work for ESPN and nobody's really digging deeper into what the cause of this situation may be. So I love that, again, here we go. The WNBA has to be the ones to stand up and say, okay, this is a little bit out of the ordinary. And how are we not bringing up other stuff? So now we can post that post from WNBA's Lexi Brown, because she saw a huge difference in this situation. And she tweeted this. She says, it's hilarious that ESPN was all over these Deshaun Watson allegations at 7 a.m., but took all day to mention Chad Wheeler almost beating his girlfriend to death. And I'm going to take that one further. Not only did they we reported the Chad Wheeler situation before ESPN did. We followed up on the Chad Wheeler situation before ESPN did. ESPN kind of just gave it a little, ooh, look at that, and then moved on. This man almost killed his girlfriend. Now, I want to show you another post from in this situation. There's a gentleman that said this situation is completely different. He says, I see what you're trying to say. It's Deshaun Watson, though. The name is bigger. Wheeler was a third-string player, horrific event. He should be in jail, but I don't think that they're comparable. And she says he almost murdered someone. They both represent the same league. Who cares who the bigger star is? And I think that's true, because we could go back and we could look at guys that we had to look up who have been involved in certain allegations, who were practice squad guys we've heard about, but they were of a certain hue. And I think that's what she's trying to politically correctly point out, that here's this white guy who almost murdered a Black woman, and we're just like, oh yeah, that happened over there. But did you see what happened to it's just like, it's night and day difference, right? And I think that when you when you're in a high profile organization like the NBA, like the NFL, your string status doesn't matter, because you are in a point of privilege at that point. No matter if you're on the practice squad, third string or starter. That is a point of privilege that a lot of people dream of, that a lot of people aspire to, and the treatment should be fair across the board. If you are in that position that people think is this amazing position and you do something shady, you should get the same attention that a Deshaun Watson does. And that's just how I feel about it. And I think my girl Lexi feels the same way, because she also posted this, and I love it. She said, "This is you if you think the coverage difference is because Watson is the more known player than Wheeler is, and you missed the point." So yes, I agree with her. What we're not going to do is pretend like when people engage in heinous acts, they both don't deserve the same amount of attention. So that is all I have for what we're not going to do.
It's Fan or Foe.
Can't hear you.
There we go. Okay. Fan or Foe is here, people, and we have been collecting all of your comments, questions, and mean things that you have to say throughout the week, and we are here to address all of them. So, Leo, let's get the first one up there. Okay, so this one was about Odell Beckham Jr., and Robert Anderson, who is one of our regulars, said he may need to look into relocating because the Browns seem to do much better when he isn't playing. Jackie, what's your take on that?
That's actually statistically correct. Once he got hurt, unfortunately, they played so much better and they started winning. So that I'm gonna have to agree with Robert Anderson on that, and I think it would be mutually beneficial for both. Because that is actually true. It's sad, but it's actually true.
Yeah, kind of a bizarre stat to think about, but I think it's time Odell gets out of there too. Let's get up to the next comment, Leo. So this person, Animalytical, says definitely not going to New York. He's not going to join a rebuild now, or he's not going to join a rebuild. You guys remember, so Odell tweeted second act, and people assumed that meant he was going to go back to New York. But then he said it was just because of his ACL. So I think that we both agree with this one. Jackie, am I wrong in saying that?
No, we agree.
Okay, let's move on. We're talking about Russell Westbrook for this next one and how he threw that ball out of bounds. Kevin Pryor, who is also one of our regulars, says, don't think he was throwing it away, but it definitely wasn't the right decision. I mean, that whole scenario was just a bad look all around for Russell, for his teammates. Nothing seemed to be lining up. It was just like completely disjointed. So I think we can both agree with that one. Let's get into the next one, Leo. Kevin L. Lang. He says, you know how quarterbacks throw receivers open? That's the case here. So he's comparing Russell to the NFL. Jackie, what do you want to say to that one?
That's not what happened. I don't think that Russ thought he was going to throw, because when he says he's throwing them open, that means as a quarterback, I'm going to throw the ball here, knowing that my receiver is going to, maybe he's not there now, but he's going to end up there. Wasn't nobody looking at Russell like that? And that was not a planned play. So I'm going to have to disagree with Kevin on this one. I just think this was a what the hell happened moment. I don't think there was a plan in place.
Yeah, I feel like it was obvious there was no plan in place based on just the way that looked. Everybody looked like they were walking through knee-deep jello. It just wasn't, it was weird. Okay, Leo, next comment. Oh, maybe this guy deserves fan of the week. Damn, look at the forehead of these two women. Yes, we have five heads.
Forehead. You want us to zoom in? Look at that. Look at the forehead.
Yeah, it's cute. You know what?
It's in the light just right. And yes, if your forehead is little, it's a shame. It's a shame. I feel bad for you.
We have big foreheads because we're so smart and our brains are so big. So sorry, you have a short forehead and you're dumb. That sucks for you. Okay.
Jimmy Neutron and Megamind, my guy. That is a compliment, sir.
Okay, next comment, Leo. John Gonzalez. Oh, John simping for Jackie. So he says, I can see Jackie being on the radio and I can listen to her all the time. So Jackie, take it away. Talk to John.
You actually can. You can go on to iTunes right now and you can subscribe to my podcast, At the Half, which comes on every single Friday. Not this Friday, y'all, because I was tired. But starting again, it'll be back up and running next Friday. Every single Friday, actually comes on Friday on Backstage, which is a different platform. And then on every Saturday, you can hear it on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you want me in your living room, you can have me in your living room.
Hell yeah. So check that out, John, if you want to listen to Jackie talk all day. Also, really quickly, Jeremiah Smith in the chat says, the cute girls always have huge foreheads. Don't stress it. And I agree with you. I love that. Okay, Leo, let's move on to the next one. Robert Anderson says, baby goat got him on ice skates looking like a newborn baby deer trying to walk for the first time. So this was on Luca versus Paul George. I feel like, Jackie, you probably got a kick out of this comment.
Yeah, the comments that I've been seeing come into place because I can see the baby deer in my head. If you can't imagine that, just go ahead and go to YouTube and watch baby deer birth, because they come out all like, because they have to walk immediately and they're like, I'm new here. Hilarious. I love this comment.
I'm new here. It's so funny. It's so true. Robert Anderson with the jokes. I love it. Okay, moving on to the next one, Leo. Kevin L. Lang, Russell obviously doesn't like playing with scrubs, though. Would you say that his teammates are scrubs?
I don't like calling professional athletes scrubs. I would say that he could be in a much better position with his fellow athletes than what he's in right now. I'll say that.
All right. Moving on to the next one. Will Donahue, any thoughts on Rockets? I wish this was a tiny bit more specific. I mean...
Yeah, John Wall got hurt again, right? So no real thoughts on the Rockets outside of that, because for a second they made us feel like, okay, this was actually good for them, that James Harden, because they went on that losing streak and then they came back. We knew that would happen because they had to rebuild their chemistry, right? But then they came back and they went on that win streak and then wah. So which again, I'm not mad at, because they still have to establish who they are without James Harden. And I had said I really didn't care what happened right now. I want to see what happened all of April. What do they look like in April? And then I can better assess if they're actually moving in the right direction. Because I think anytime somebody leaves like that, you have to give them an opportunity to figure it out. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to figure it out.
Yeah, it would be an anomaly if they came out of losing James Harden as like this strong, unified, powerful squad. You know, it's obviously going to take some time. Doug S in the chat says, one word, tank, LOL. So
that's the thing. I wouldn't mind, but I hate when teams tank. But I mean, at this point, it would benefit you if you did. So, I can't argue that.
Okay, let's get the next one up there, Leo. Dream says, what's the black girl name? Okay, Jackie, tell him.
My name is Jackie Ray. Okay. And I saw this when it came up and said, and somebody responded to him and said, her name is Jackie, calling her a black girl is racist. I'm proudly black. So the black girl's name is Jackie. Okay. And thanks for asking.
Well, Dream has another question for you. Leo, can you throw it up there?
The hell? I was just on your team, my guy. Oh my God.
So tell him, what's the OnlyFans, Jackie?
No, hell no. And now I feel stupid because I was like I'm like, y'all don't come for Dream like that. Y'all go get him. Go get him. No, I ain't got no damn OnlyFans. What I look like?
I know. For the record, you guys, neither of us have OnlyFans accounts. No shade to the women who want to do that. You do you, girls, but I don't have one. Jackie doesn't have one. So you guys can stop asking us in the chat because it's not going to happen. Okay, moving on. Next comment, Leo, can you put it up there? Oh, Robert Anderson again. He says, this is about the WNBA being better than the NBA. He said they don't really run plays like they should. That's why watching WNBA is watching more fundamentally sound basketball. And Jackie, I think you touched on this during the week. So do you want to address it a little bit more?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was on a show last night and I said that this is the reason why, this was about should we bring the rim down a little bit. And I still think we should, but he is absolutely right. If you want, because what we saw happen to Russell would not have happened in the WNBA because they actually have plays. They know what spot they're supposed to go to, and if that spot gets there and the person who's out of bounds is still in trouble and having difficulty getting the ball in, you run to another spot. So they do definitely have the fundamentals down way more than the NBA. And I've even said that to people, like even younger guys that I know that are trying to start playing basketball. You need to watch a lot more WNBA because you're still at the point in your career where you need to know how to run plays, and you just don't really see that in the NBA. So he's absolutely right. Look at Robert Anderson out here with the facts.
I know. Robert Anderson is like,
we need a facts only site. We should create that. So we just drop facts instead of doing whatever they do on OnlyFans. That's what we need.
I would love that. And also, just while we're talking about OnlyFans, I would totally start an OnlyFans account and just share pictures of my food. So if y'all are interested in that, let me know. I'll be posting my pizza, my salads.
Yeah.
All right, we've got two more here. So this next one, Red Blaze says the WNBA is underrated, 1000%. We both agree with that. We think women in the WNBA deserve a lot more attention, a lot more accolades than they get. And I think that's coming. I think that we're seeing a shift in the way people view women's basketball. And that's in large part due to Kobe and the way he uplifted WNBA athletes, and then current NBA players and how much support they show for their female counterparts. So I think that we are moving in the right direction with that. It'll be, time before it changes, but I agree with this one for sure. Now, let's get into the final one because we're over time here. Jay says, that man forgot who his dad is, LOL. This is all about Zaire Wade and how he was talking about how he doesn't want to be forgotten or whatever it was. And it's like, honey, we appreciate the humility, but your dad's Dwayne Wade. No one's forgetting you.
Right. Come on, guy.
Come on, Zaire. Jeez. All right, you guys. Well, we're going to wrap up our show for the day. Make sure you tune into Weekend Zone tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Leave a comment below, subscribe, tap the bell for notifications, share this video with your friends, and most importantly, have the best weekend ever, you guys. We'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Love the forehead.
Yeah, forehead gals.